A poor fisherman found a cargo container washed up on a remote island. When he broke it open, his life changed forever. In the vast, unpredictable waters of the Pacific, a humble Filipino fisherman named Miguel Rodriguez was navigating his small boat through a remote chain of islands when he spotted something that didn't belong. On the white sand of a deserted shoreline, a colossal rust-colored metal box glinted in the tropical sun. It was a full-size shipping container, a ghost of global commerce washed ashore in a place that time seemed to have forgotten. Driven by curiosity, he decided to investigate. He had no idea that this strange metal monolith held a secret, a fragrant treasure that would not only lift his family from a life of poverty, but would change the fortunes of his entire village. To understand the world of Miguel Rodriguez, you must first understand the life of a small-scale fisherman in the remote islands of the Philippines. It is a life of profound hardship, deep tradition, and absolute dependence on the sea. For generations, men like Miguel have set out at dawn in their small wooden outrigger boats, called bancas, to brave the open ocean. Their livelihood is a daily gamble against the elements, a struggle to catch enough fish to feed their families, and have a little left over to sell at the local market. They live in small, tight-knit villages, often without reliable electricity or modern conveniences, their lives governed by the rhythm of the tides and the changing of the season. But there is another, more violent rhythm that defines their existence: the typhoon season. The Philippines is located in the heart of Typhoon Alley, the most active tropical cyclone basin on Earth. Every year, these immense swirling storms, born in the warm waters of the Pacific, sweep across the archipelago with terrifying force. They bring torrential rains and catastrophic winds that can level entire villages and create storm surges that wash everything away. For the fishermen, a typhoon is a life-or-death event that can destroy their boats, their homes, and their entire livelihood in a matter of hours. But these storms also have another, unintended consequence. They are one of the primary reasons that thousands of shipping containers are lost at sea every single year. Every day, the world's oceans are crisscrossed by a fleet of massive container ships, the workhorses of the global economy, carrying everything from cars to coffee beans. When one of these ships encounters the colossal waves and violent winds of a major typhoon, the stacks of containers can break loose. Thousands of these 40-foot steel boxes are washed overboard into the ocean each year. Some sink immediately, but many, depending on their contents and how well they are sealed, can float for weeks or even months, drifting for hundreds of miles on the ocean current. They are silent, metal ghosts, a hidden and dangerous byproduct of our modern world, eventually either sinking to the bottom of the sea or, in very rare cases, washing up on a remote and lonely shore, just like the one Miguel Rodriguez had just found. On that fateful day, Miguel was fishing in a remote, uninhabited part of the island chain, a place the local fishermen usually avoided due to its treacherous reefs. But his usual fishing grounds had been sparse, and he was desperate for a good catch to provide for his family. As he steered his small boat around a rocky outcrop, he saw it. The massive rectangular shape was jarringly out of place against the pristine natural backdrop of white sand and lush green jungle. He cautiously guided his boat ashore, his mind racing. He had heard stories and legends from other fishermen about strange things washing up after big storms, but he had never seen anything like this. The container was a colossal, rust-covered beast, half buried in the sand where the tide had left it. It was covered in barnacles and dried seaweed, a clear sign that it had been in the ocean for a very long time. He circled the great metal box, searching for any logos, numbers, or markings that might give a clue to its origin or its contents. But years of exposure to the corrosive salt water and the beating sun had erased any identification, leaving only a uniform canvas of rust. The container's heavy doors were sealed shut, secured by a massive corroded padlock. Miguel was not a wealthy man. The thought of what could be inside valuable electronics, machinery, or other goods was a tantalizing possibility. A discovery like this could change a poor fisherman's life. He had to know what was inside. He returned to his boat and grabbed the only tools he had, his heavy, sharp machete, which he used for cutting lines and gutting fish, and a large, heavy stone from the beach. For the next hour, under the intense heat of the tropical sun, he hammered relentlessly at the rusted padlock. The metal was thick, and the lock resisted, but Miguel was a man of incredible patience and determination. Sweat dripped down his face as he struck the lock again and again. Finally, with a loud, sharp crack that echoed across the quiet beach, the corroded metal of the lock shackle gave way. The lock fell to the sand. With his heart pounding in his chest, Miguel put all his weight into pulling open the heavy, groaning metal doors. They scraped open, revealing a dark, musty interior, stacked to the ceiling with large, anonymous, water-stained cardboard boxes. He had no idea what he was about to find, but the first chapter of the mystery was now open. As the heavy, rusted doors swung open, the first thing that hit Miguel Rodriguez was not a sight, but a smell. A powerful, rich, and intoxicatingly sweet aroma poured out of the dark container, an aroma that was completely alien to the salty air of the beach. It was not the foul smell of decay or stagnant seawater he might have expected. It was a beautiful, exotic, and deeply familiar scent, a scent he associated with rare treats and celebrations. He stood there for a moment, confused and intrigued. He peered into the dark interior. In the dim light, he could see that the container was stacked high with large, water-stained, and seemingly worthless cardboard boxes. A flicker of disappointment went through him. His dream of finding valuable electronics or machinery vanished. It seemed this was just a lost shipment of spoiled goods. And yet, there was that incredible smell. Driven by the perplexing aroma, he climbed into the container. He took his machete and used its tip to pry open the damp cardboard of the nearest box. The cardboard tore away, revealing a tightly sealed, thick plastic bag inside, and through the clear plastic, he could see the contents. It was not spoiled food or industrial goods. It was thousands upon thousands of long, dark, oily pods, all bundled together. He knew instantly what they were. It was vanilla. He had just found a container filled with thousands of perfectly preserved vanilla beans. His initial disappointment was replaced by a wave of stunned, breathless shock. He was not a spice expert, but even a humble fisherman in the Philippines knew that vanilla was incredibly valuable. He had not found worthless cargo. He had found a fragrant, floating treasure chest. To understand why this discovery was so life-changing, you must understand the story of vanilla itself. It is the second most expensive spice in the world, after saffron, and for good reason. Vanilla does not grow easily. It comes from a specific species of orchid, the Vanilla planifolia, which is notoriously difficult to cultivate. The vanilla orchid is a climbing vine, and its beautiful greenish-yellow flowers are incredibly delicate. Each flower opens for only one day, and in most parts of the world, it must be pollinated by hand in a painstaking, labor-intensive process. If a flower is not pollinated during this brief one-day window, it will wilt and fall from the vine, producing no vanilla bean. This delicate, hands-on process is what makes vanilla production so costly and time-consuming. After pollination, the long, thin green bean takes months to grow, but the work is still not done. The green, odorless beans must then go through a months-long curing process of sweating and drying, which transforms them into the dark, fragrant, and intensely flavorful spice that is prized by chefs and food lovers around the world. It is a true labor of love, a form of agricultural artistry, and it is this process that makes a large, high-quality shipment of vanilla beans worth a small fortune. Back on the remote beach, Miguel, now understanding the magnitude of his find, began the difficult task of transporting his treasure. His small boat could only carry a fraction of the container's contents. He loaded as many of the heavy boxes as he safely could and made the tense journey back to his village, his mind racing. He was an honest man. He knew he had to report his find to the authorities. When he arrived, the story of his discovery spread like wildfire through the small community. He contacted the local Coast Guard and maritime authorities. The officials began an investigation. They used the container's serial number, which was still faintly visible beneath the rust, to trace its origin through international shipping databases. They discovered that the container had been part of a cargo shipment that was lost at sea during a powerful typhoon several years earlier. But then they discovered the most crucial detail of all. For whatever reason, the original owner of the cargo had never filed an insurance claim for the lost container. Under international maritime salvage law, this meant the cargo was officially considered abandoned property. After a formal waiting period, with no original owner coming forward to claim it, a local court made a ruling that would change Miguel's life forever. Miguel Rodriguez, the finder, was declared the legal and rightful owner of the entire container and its priceless contents. He worked with a reputable spice distributor who sent experts to the island to verify and grade the vanilla. They confirmed it was a high-quality batch, and because it had been professionally vacuum sealed, its flavor and aroma were perfectly preserved. The final valuation of the entire shipment was staggering for a man of Miguel's humble means. He had found a treasure worth over $142,000. The first thing he did was secure the future of his own family, ensuring his children would have access to education and a life free from the daily struggle he had always known. But his story did not end there. Miguel was a man of his community. He used the rest of his newfound fortune to invest back into his village. He bought 2 new, larger, and more modern fishing boats, equipped with safer and more effective gear. He then hired the other fishermen from his village to work with him, providing them with stable jobs and a fair share of the profits. His single, lucky discovery became the foundation for a new, thriving local fishing cooperative that lifted his entire community out of poverty. The story of Miguel Rodriguez and the lost vanilla is a powerful testament to fate. A violent storm that took a valuable cargo from a wealthy corporation years later delivered it as a gift of salvation to a poor and deserving fisherman. It is a heartwarming story that reminds us that the sea, which so often takes, can sometimes give back in the most unexpected and most fragrant of ways.